Oh no. Oh no, I cut myself off. I was so perfectly positioned. Hello. Oh Lord. Hey everybody. Okay. I'll just have to slump a little bit. Good evening. How are you doing? It's time for Quilt Nerd. It's Tuesday night, and I'm really happy to be here. And I am very, very glad that tonight Stephanie Cake is back. She's back, everybody. Hold on. Yeah.
The ghost of Christmas past has come to haunt you.
Thank God. Steph, how are you feeling?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
When you have that stomach thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I've become friends with Pepto-Bismol today.
Yeah. The pep is your pal. We are really glad you're back. And and I'm not gonna tax you. We're not gonna tax you too much tonight. I've got to pack and get back to Chicago tomorrow. It's been an amazing trip here in Iowa. We've got a lot. I've got great stuff for you tonight out there in Quilt Nerd Land, Quilt Nerdlandia. And hello, everybody. Cake. Jill, who says hello, Cake. Drink Wine and Solin and Padma and Word and Bird Nerd. I owe you an email. And Hero Co. Hey, Hero. It's great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Quilted Soul is here, and Robin. Hi, Robin. This camera did something strange. And My Great Cats. Hey, My Great Cats. I haven't said hi to folks in a minute, so it's just good to say hello. Quilting Politic and Mother Nature. And Matt Quilter. If this is Tuesday, it must be Quilt Nerd Night. God bless you. You know what? Yeah. I feel the spirit. I feel it. I'm feeling it. I also feel the Triscuits over there, but I have chips. I have a little wine, I have some water. You know what I mean? We're set. And I saw I've gifted a total of 22 subscriptions in this channel, Word and Bird Nerd, and that is amazing. And we got the sewing kitten when you did that. When you gift a subscription to somebody, the kitten comes on screen and sews on the computer. On the sewing machine. So that's pretty cool. Pecky Belly, hello. Drink Wine and Solin. I think I said hi. Grits and Butter and Jay Densure and Jill Alex. You're a ridiculous person. You're actually in the show tonight because I'm going to show some pictures from this workshop that I've been doing. This workshop, the Foundry. Basically, been working with Marianne, all week. And here's an announcement. I was going to go home and be home in Chicago for 2 weeks, but there is so much left to do to get ready for this Quilt Folk workshop that my mom and I are going to teach. We're going to film it in May. So I was going to come home right before the taping. The point is, I'm coming back to Iowa in 1 week. 1 week. This is hot off the presses. I didn't even tell the bakery yet. But yeah, we decided I'm going to be in Chicago for 1 week only, and then I'm right back here. And I'm happy with it. It's great. Mom cooks dinner, there's like wine in the house. And then I've been using this space in the morning to like work out. Like imagine that. It was like so I'll be back here and that's great. It's a beautiful thing to be back in Winterset. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Jill Alex is in the show tonight because we have some quilts that we've been working on. My mom and I. And we bought them from Jill. Jill Alex is a quilt dealer. Did you know that? You probably do. If you're in this community for any length of time, you start to get to know people. And Jill Alex is, she's quite the up and comer. It's true. She's, yeah. And so we bought a number of quilt tops and loose quilt blocks from Jill. And so I have some process pictures of stuff that's going on. And Jill, I think the process pictures I have, most of them are from tops that we bought from you and blocks that we bought from you. So that's pretty cool. Pecky Belly subscribed at tier 1. Thank you so much. You subscribed for 10 months. You're on a 10-month streak. Pretty under the weather tonight. That's not good. You need some comforting quilt chat, Pecky Belly. I have got you, girl. I got you. Have you tried champagne? It might help. No, I'm kidding. You should drink water. Angie is here. Fiandor coming in with the music. I love that. Joyce. And Peace Love Puppies. Oh, Peace Love Puppies. I have to send you something when I get home to Chicago. That's the last thing I need to mail. Okay. And Sohani's card. Okay. So anybody else who came in, Eva, it's great to see you. And Richard, thanks for coming by. Okay. I used to like sort of call the roll and like say hi to everybody in the chat, but I haven't been doing that as much to kind of get things rolling. But tonight, I don't know. I just wanted to say hi. I appreciate you for subscribing and just coming to the show. And for the people in the Lurker Lounge, we love you too, man. I totally lurk in some live streams. I don't comment. I don't chat. I stick to myself, and it's okay. It's good. Whatever you want to do. This wrap that I'm wearing was a gift last night. Leslie Levy from the International Quilt Museum. She's the executive director there, and someone I admire very much. She and her mom, Ruth, were here in Winterset passing through, and so we all had dinner at Mom's house last night, and it was great. And Leslie brought me and Mom a gift from the International Quilt Museum, and this thing, I mean, it's right, yeah, Steph, you can see it sort of unfiltered on the Zoom thing. It's navy and pink. I mean, I really love it. And so I wanted to show you that and say thank you to Leslie. It's a pretty good gift shop at the International Quilt Museum. So if you need a little something, great. It's so soft and great. I love it. So the show is like, I've got behind the scenes stuff. And I also raided my mom's bookshelf because, I have almost all the books that my mom has here in Iowa, and I have more than she has at this point. But there's some deep cuts, right? Some interesting books that she has that I don't have. And so I went in there and I got some really cool quilts. I want to do something I've never done before. I've never done this before on the show. One of the things Mom and I have done is that we have attempted and succeeded, I think, in taking flat shots, okay, of our quilts, right? So, and we often talk, in fact, with Mom last week, we looked at an article about taking a picture of your quilt, how to take a picture if you're going to submit it to something, or if you just want a good straight-on shot of your quilt. Well, we have a really, really, really tall ladder in this very, very, very large space with a tall ceiling, and I got my gimbal out, my little thing that I use when I travel with you all. And I got up high on that ladder, and Mom she was my PA. We took a picture of our stuff. And then I used Acorn, which is a free program. You can download it and it's fine. It's great. It's totally cool. It's free, open source, whatever. And I did a thing where I fixed the perspective, and iPhoto does that now. Like Photos does that on a Mac, but if you don't have a Mac, like I want to use Acorn because everybody can use it. I mean, I think I'm going to show you how to do it because it's like really easy and it's pretty amazing. So I'm going to do it. It's like a very short demo, but it's like kind of a how-to, which we don't do much on this show, but I think it's worth it, I think it'd be cool. So I keep looking at stuff like, do you think it's okay? And she's like, yeah. So good. So that's what we're going to do. And then if we have time, we're going to do one other thing, but we'll see. Let me get small real quick and we'll look at the quilt that's behind me. Oh, romance. Yeah, let's start where we usually start, which is the intro quilt. Although I do need to tell you that there's a giveaway tonight because Saturday night when Cake was recovering and convalescing, we had the beautiful Susanna Johns on, and she took us through the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum, which was so cool. And we loved the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum people. They were so cool as well. And we have 2 books to give away because they donated 2 books. Amazing. But Cake is the person who does she knows how to do the giveaway things. So we just thought we'd leave it to her.
You guys couldn't figure it out.
We actually couldn't. I was like, I'm going to screw this up. I don't know how to do it. And like, how do I know all of the names? And Robin knows all of the names, but I didn't know which program Steph uses. So we're going to draw for 2 books tonight. And if you're a subscriber to this channel, you're in the mix. It could be you. You could be the winner of the thing. What can I possibly, yeah. I mean, there's like pre-applause for you. And
The 29th.
I love it. It's perfect. Yeah, there's more announcements, but I try to do them throughout the show because there's really a lot going on. Hey, Nancy, thanks for checking it out. I'm glad you're watching in YouTube land maybe or Facebook land. So, oh my God, these are really spicy. Oh God, sorry. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Okay, I'm gonna be okay. So we're gonna do that giveaway, and we'll do that in about a half an hour. So we're not doing the cake break tonight because you have not been working, which I'm glad about. So we'll wait.
I had to leave Dr. Dutton while my stomach was going crazy.
Yeah, I think this is wise. You did the right thing. So we'll do the giveaway here in just a little bit. But we always start the show. Quilts can take us anywhere. They can take us everywhere. We start with one quilt and we end up in a foreign country. We end up in 1800. We end up 2 years ago. We travel sort of the world and space and time when we look at quilts. And so to start off the show, we start with one quilt and see what happens. And the quilt that I chose for the intro tonight comes from the Quilt Digest. I'm a little bit here. It comes from the Quilt Digest, which is only published 5 issues. That was in the 1980s. And Rod Kirikoff was the publisher of that, Rod Kirikoff and Michael Kyle. And it's beautiful. I mean, if I show it here, it won't, the green screen will, it's not too bad. That's interesting. Well, no. A beautiful publication. Rod Kirikoff is a friend of mine, and he works with Quilt Folk, has worked with Quilt Folk on a couple different, is that true? An exhibit, and then the second edition of his book. Anyway, I've known him for a long time, and he said, Quilt Folk is kind of, since the Quilt Digest, Quilt Folk has sort of been the publication that really, classed up the joint a little bit, Perfect Bound magazine and things. But Quilt Digest was really special, and there's never been anything quite like it. Glossy pages, absolutely perfect photography, so beautiful. And the quilts that they featured and the articles that they featured were really amazing. And so if you can get your hands on the Quilt Digest, I recommend it. I think you should have them in your book, on your bookshelf. And so I was looking for an intro quilt, and I was flipping through books from Mom's shelf, and I saw this, and I thought it looked really good. I thought it looked really nice. This is called A Camouflaged Affair by Steve Stratakos, Stratakos. Sounds sort of Greek, maybe. I don't know for sure, but A Camouflaged Affair by Steve Stratakos from LaGrange, Illinois. It was made in 1984, and it's 69 by 50. I'm sorry. Look, they're on a picnic blanket. I'm sorry. I'm like a 16-year-old boy. Okay, whatever. 69 by 55. I'm sorry. Appliqued and quilted by machine in polyesters, satins and cottons, some hand dyed, signed in paint. Collection of the Quilt Maker. So there's camouflage. When I label things in the database that I do, the library finding aid, which I do try to keep going. I mean, food quilts, that's like a category of quilts that I like to try to keep, I like to know where to look if I'm looking for quilts with food, and this is a really good one. I just love it. Her dress is great. Let me brighten that up a little bit. The most artful camo ever, totally Sherlock. Jill, Alex, I feel like our ridiculous joking has made me juvenile. Steph and I were talking about how just ridiculous. I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, the work on the people I think is really good. It's sort of it's very it's not realistic. It's very not cartoonish, maybe cartoonish, but sort of graphic representation, almost like a comic strip or something. But it's really, she really got the expression. He really got the expressions perfect. She looks so, basking in the sun, and he clearly adores her. I don't know. I think it's a really, really successful quilt. His pants are cool. Wow. Those are really neat. And the food and the utensils are just done really, really well. And so when I saw this, I also kind of thought about, the weather is getting warmer. We had a cold snap, but picnics and being outside, it really is coming. And some of you may have had some really good weather. So you might have already had a little en plein air, on plein air, or a, al fresco, dining al fresco, perhaps. But anyway, and look at the bouquet of flowers. Yeah, it's really nice. Really nice. Yeah. So that is from, 1984, A Camouflaged Affair by Steve Stratikos of Illinois. Nice. Way to go. Okay, so let's go to this announcement really quick. This is, oh yeah, this is Mom's Quilt Bookshelf. Actually, that's a little title card I made for some of the quilts we're going to look at tonight. And let me ask you, oh, Mother Nature, tree shadows on pants. Yeah, I think, that's it. Hey, Joyous Fibers. Lucy and Desi, totally. And a thermos. So let's see, what was I going to say? The Mom's Quilt Bookshelf. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you all, I mean, are you the person in your family who has the quilt books? Like Steph, your mom has some, right? I mean, does she have the kind of books that the Quilt Nerds have? These like nerdy books?
She has some of these nerdy books. Her books are more of like how to make stuff.
Sure.
Whereas I've taken the history end of it. So, but we do have a lot of overlap, and I suspect you and your mom do too.
Yeah. There's a fair amount of overlap. Yeah, I mean, there's only a few quilt books that she has that that I don't have. What about you? Hey, Roxanne. Hola, peeps. Better late than never. Heck yeah, it's great to see you. I mean, I think there's a few people. Molly's mom is a quilter, but I don't think a book I don't have. I'm hoping. I think. I don't know. You're the quilt book nerd, Robin. Yeah, totally. It's good, right? The crown. Okay. So we're gonna look at a few things. I think I'll save the announcement here for just a little bit. It's fun, but let's wait on it. Okay. So this is one of the books that I don't have. This is in Mom's quilt studio. She has her bookshelf in her quilt studio, where she makes her stuff. And Quilts Visions of the World, edited by Bonnie Lehman. And I think we might have looked at maybe one or two quilts from this before. Yeah, and there was hands all around, and this, a year ago.
It came back to me about this book because I do have it, and I know I bought it because you showed it to us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have an ISBN. That's why we've never had an A-book link to it.
Interesting. Okay.
Because it's a Bonnie Lehman, that publishing company, and she didn't have ISBNs back then.
Interesting.
Or I don't know.
They just didn't. It was self-published in some way.
Yeah, I was gonna say she just didn't put the ISBNs on a lot of the earlier stuff.
Interesting. Okay, so it's an interesting book, and here's the preface. And I mean, I don't know. I have some questions about this book, but I'll just read you a little bit of the preface. It says, and it's Bonnie Lehman, right? Founder and editor of Quilter's Newsletter. It is with tremendous pride and pleasure that we present this particular collection of quilts. Quilts, Visions of the World. Documents the first worldwide quilt contest. Celebrates the spread and continuing development of quilt making all around the world. I didn't tell you when it was published. It was published in 1988. Is that right? Yeah, 1988. The first worldwide quilt contest celebrates the spread and continuing development of quilt making all around the world. Shows how quilts can be a powerful medium for conveying messages and making statements, and reveals the vital interests and concerns of people in many countries as expressed through their quilts. It is an exuberant international quilting bee, a world summit of quilters, if you will, in which participants exchange ideas about the world and how to make it better. I'll read one more paragraph. Political, religious, and philosophical themes have been expressed in quilts by their makers throughout the rich and colorful history of this needle art. Quilting is also has a tradition of creative expression in making beautiful, useful bed coverings and wall quilts. But probably even more important, for many, many generations, it has been valuable to hundreds of thousands of quilt makers as a pleasurable activity, as good fun. It's just good fun is what it is. These traditions continue in this collection of 77 quilts by entrants in the contest, also entitled Quilts Visions of the World. So, so my mom won a thing in here, and her world peace quilt, which is really beautiful, and we've seen it before, so I'm not showing it tonight. But as I was looking through this book, One thing I notice is, it's mostly Europe and America. I mean, there's like maybe 2 people from Japan who are represented, but just so you know, I mean, Visions of the World, this is great. It's not the world.
It's visions of the world, not from the world.
Yes, visions in the world. They're visions that people have had in the world, and the quilts are totally cool. And we totally love a quilt contest and like whatever. It's totally great. But just I mean, if this were to happen again, I would encourage anybody who did it. It's easy to say and hard to do, but like it's like the global thing is like it's better. It's just better. Talking about like including the whole globe. It's not because like it's the right thing. I mean, it is the right thing to do, but it's just a better book. It's a better contest. You know what I mean? Like yeah. So I was looking for things further afield than France and so forth, and I found one quilt that was really, really great, and I wanted to show it to you. I mean, I don't care where it's from. This quilt is so cool. I love it so much. And the woman who made it, her name is Leah, Lea Gallon, Galon, and it's called Jerusalem, the Eternal City. It's such a great, I just love it so much. I love it so much. So let me read to you what I know about it from this book. And Leah Gallon is from Hasharon, Israel. And I mean, you know what it reminds me of? Somebody might have said it. Right, Mishral? It's so good. Oh, I know. It's so badass. I know. Totally. It kind of reminds me of Crazy City. The sea Winnie quilt, right? Because these houses are sort of, mashed up. And if we've looked at Crazy City, that famous quilt many times, so I'm not going to pull it up. But if you don't know that quilt, you Google Crazy City quilt. And then put
Winnie, right?
Yeah, C Winnie and WINNIE. Crazy City quilt, you'll probably get it. And you'll see what I mean. Right? I'm not wrong, right?
No, I agree with you. And now that you said that, I'm like, oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I feel like maybe there's a few other like old quilts that kind of have this like city or property vibe. Like
property, yeah.
Vibe.
Yeah.
And to throw a typical art world term out there, wouldn't it be awesome to juxtapose those against each other?
It would 1,000% be. Hold on.
That's what I do. I invented Post-its.
It would 1,000% be an awesome juxtaposition. And I mean, in an exhibit, like how cool would that be? To have these, right? To have these things. So, so here's what Leah says. Quilt maker's statement. Quote, "My vision of the world is reflected in my adaptation of the ancient mosaic map found in 1844 at Madiba, showing Jerusalem in the time of Justinian. This vision results from my belief in Jerusalem as the eternal city, where many people of many races and religions may find the roots of their faith. This quilt is also an expression of my prayer that peace will come to this city and to our country in our time, and that all people may live in peace in Jerusalem and in the world." Nice. Very nice. I love, when I first saw it, I thought 55. So you're seeing the scan that I made, that white border is the paper of the book, so there's this bisque color that is containing all of this incredible patchwork. And it's patchwork. It's not applique, as far as I can tell. It's all piecing. I think it is extremely successful as an art object, like just deeply successful. The quilting is, this is great, Really cool. Hey, Naflinster, thank you so much for subscribing at Tier 2. You've been subscribed for 19 months. You are going to have a very good weekend, Quilt Nerd wise. We got a lot of good stuff. Hey, Quack Cat. Hey, Dee Marie. Amy's here too. Oh boy. Get to Jerusalem, man. Same. Okay, so that's one of these quilts from this book. And where? Oh, I meant to show you something. I got to show you one other thing. So our intro quilt, I forgot. It reminded me of something else very quilty. And it's this picture. And this picture is one of my favorite pictures I've ever seen. And this is our friend Jonathan Holstein's photograph. Why am I doing this? And this is a collection. Hey, why are you? Okay. This is from his collection of photographs. He has a lot of really wonderful photographs of people and quilts, and of quilts, in photographs from the time photography began, until recently. And it's an amazing collection, and I love this picture. And you know what I need to do is I need to just do this and go back into full screen, and I think I'll be able to, zoom in. Okay, look at these little scamps. Don't they just look great on that quilt? I mean, what do you think, everybody? Do you think it would be 1940? Hey, Yakamo. Oh my gosh, it's great to see you. Okay, and Robin, can you maybe help out Yakamo? Probably can. Robin's probably going to be super helpful with that, Yakamo. Thanks for asking. 1940s? Like, is this a picture from the 1940s? I think so. It seems like it to me, but I don't know. But isn't that nice?
Her dress seems to be like mid-century, but he's wearing, I wonder if he's like, if they're on a golf course. He looks like he's wearing some kind of knickerbockers.
Hey, Kay. Yeah, or, I mean, is it Germany? Is that Lederhosen? I don't know. I don't know what Lederhosen is. Probably not. You're really laughing hard, so I'm completely wrong about it. But anyway, look at her, like, okay, look, just like the details, the forensics, if you will. Her purse is fabulous. Wait, hold on. There are several purses. Wait, this is a purse. There's also this purse. What's happening in this photograph? I love it even more than I did before. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. And then +4s, Quaco Cat, exactly. Closer to the 50s, says Robin. Interesting. Hey, Bridgewater. Closer to the 50s. Interesting. Good to know. I knew I could ask this group of people. And where it is, we don't know, but I just wonder who took this picture, Oh, maybe it was like another person who had a purse. I don't know. So you see, this is when I saw this quilt, I thought about that picture. And I also thought about this picture, which, I don't think they're in flagrante, I think they're just camping, but isn't this great? Also people reclining, and in terms of when this is or where it is, I don't know. I mean, if we do, so they just look great. I mean, don't they just look great with this quilt around them? Hey, Jane. And they're just having like a good time. I don't know. It reminds me of me and my friend Sarah, like camping in Grand Canyon or something. But here are these tents back here. Like, what do you all think is going on there? Is it a summer camp thing? Is it the best nap ever, Jill? Exactly. People are thinking those were golf pants. God, do people still wear those? I mean, do they still? I mean, people play golf still.
I feel like the last time I saw somebody wearing those kind of pants was they had the beret with the big pom-pom on top of it.
What is it called?
I feel like that's Arnold, Tam O'Shanter.
Tam O'Shanter, God bless you. Thank you so much. It's going to drive me nuts.
I feel like that's a Arnold Palmer sort of thing from...
Like the cocktail? Like the...
Back in the 50s. Well,
is that what it's called? He was a person? Arnold Palmer was a person?
Yes. Arnold Palmer is iced tea and lemonade, but he is a person. Or was a person.
And he was a person who liked to drink that, wearing his Tam O'Shanter. That's great. I love it.
And his knee pants.
his cute little knee pants, yeah. I love it. Dee Dee. And perfect nap opportunity. You know what? Dee Dee, it's very cute. M. Hicks, hi. It's so good to see you. So anyway, so this is maybe all the tents in the background. Exactly. That's what I'm wondering, Bridgewater. Like, what's going on here? Who field workers living and working in the orchard. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. Arnold Palmer. Now I'm knowing who that is. So I have questions about this picture, but all I really know, and the most important thing, is that quilts are good for being together on the ground. That's what it means, Sally agrees. Thanks for watching, Sally. Okay. So one other one from Oh yeah, from the Quilt Digest, right? We talked about this. Why do you do that? From the Quilt Digest. Just this other one I thought was interesting. I mean, I bring you. There's so many great quilts, but I really try to bring to the show things that, they're really worth talking about. There's something different, I mean, I really love magazines. I really love being a magazine editor. I'm not an active Very interesting because it's an art quilt piece, by which we mean it's made for the wall and not the bed. Okay. All quilts are art, but some are made to go on the wall and never touch a human body because they're made of, I don't know, beads and things. But anyway, so receding bars slash orange green. So the title of this quilt is Receding Bars Orange Green, and it's by Ardith Davis, Ardyth, Ardith Davis. You zoom in on these ties, and they're quite long. She left them quite long. Ardith Davis made this in 1985. It's 59 by 63. She was a resident of Leesburg, Virginia. And it is pieced, painted, and quilted silk. Pieced, painted, and quilted silk. And it's tied with cotton threads. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought that was kind of an interesting choice. I also really, really like the colors. I mean, there's that too. I'm into this pastel situation. And of course, it looks like a landscape to me. Doesn't it look like a landscape to you? I mean, there's this perspective, like this receding. No? Do you not see the perspective, Steph? I mean, not the perspective. Do you not see the landscape? Do you see it or no?
I do. I was looking at the way these strips have been added on.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in, I wish some of these, demand that these book publishers get better pictures. But,
yeah.
Quilts, we talked about this earlier, photographing quilts is hard.
Yes.
And so I'm often looking at these going, how did they do that? What's going on there?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, this broken sort of, yellow brick road kind of thing going off into the distance is, it's very, very precise and very well thought out, of course. But it's this fractured, I don't know, it's good, it's cool. And you can really see the tie work up in the sky section. I really like that. I think it's neat. And this up here, like this particular section in the blue with the blue ties that match perfectly, which is another thing about it. Like the ties match the fabric that they're on, which I don't see very often, or ever, if ever before.
I wonder if they dyed it.
Yeah, I bet it is dyed. Yep, I bet it's dyed exactly.
The floss along with the fabric.
It's the same color. Very interesting. But this looks almost childlike. Like I've seen child's quilts or children's quilts, especially from the 1970s, that were tied and kind of looked like this. So there's a playfulness to it. There's sort of I don't know. I mean, to tie this, it's a very interesting choice to me. It's very interesting. And yeah, to coordinate to hand dye the fabrics and the thread is really cool. Really neat. So that's Receding Bars Orange Green by Ardith Davis. Very nice. For Mom's Bookshelf. Mom's Bookshelf. Okay. Okay, well, this is a good time actually to do the announcement. It's kind of a big deal. And you know what? We'll do this announcement and then let's do that giveaway. And then we're going to look at a couple other quilts and then I'm going to do that demo for you about how to straighten out a quilt. I mean, look, if some people will be interested, some people won't, but it's a free program and it's very easy to use. And I'll show you how to fix perspective if you take your quilt picture and you can't get directly over it, with like a jib camera. It's hard to take a straight on shot of a quilt. So I'll just show you what I did to do that. So the announcement, and then we'll do the giveaway for the Rocky Mountain quilts. Y'all, oh, let me hide the chat. I made a slide even. I'm going to QuiltCon. Oh, yeah, I'll hide myself too. I'm going to QuiltCon in 2024. I'm very excited. I've got my contract. I need to actually put my signature on it. That's true. But yeah, I totally missed the show. It was a year, this year I didn't go to the show. And next year I'm going to go to the show. And I'm going to do 2 lectures, and I'll tell you more about those when that's all set. But I'm going to do the special tours again. So I missed time in Atlanta, but I know how good of a show it was. It was so great, and so many quilt nerds were there. And I'm so excited to go to Raleigh. I'm very happy and super stoked because I've loved that show for a long time. So I wanted to let you know, if you're thinking about going to QuiltCon in Raleigh, you should do it. You should do it. Maybe you want to submit a quilt to the show. Maybe, I don't know if. Can you still like submit to teach, Cake? Do you know how that? I don't know about the deadlines on that.
You know, I'm terrible. I haven't paid attention to Modern Quilt Guild stuff in a while, but I think they may be done with teaching proposals.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah,
hey, Yvonne,
I think those had to be in earlier in the year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Because they do that pretty soon after the QuiltCon ends. You know, the show is done. So. Anyway, wanted to let you guys know that that's a recent development, and yeah, I'm totally stoked. It's a good time, and yeah, so that's gonna happen. So let's do this. I'm gonna put up. What am I gonna put up? I'm gonna put up this quilt and keep people interested in what this is while we do the giveaway. So Saturday night show, we were at the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum, and we said there was gonna be a giveaway, and now there is. And the 2 books are The Quilt That Walked to Golden, which is a great book about quilts in Colorado. Many moons ago, we looked at Suggan quilts, cowboy quilts, Suggan. They have lots of different ways to describe, to spell that kind of quilt. But we talked about those, and a number of pictures that I got for those, for that particular segment on the show came from The Quilt That Walked to Golden. It's a really good book. And then the other one is quilts from the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum, I think. So let's do this. Are you ready, Cake? Do you have your thing?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So.
All right.
Okay. Which book are you doing? Which drama? Okay. Pick one of these fingers. Which finger do you want? The one on the right or the one on the left?
Your pointer finger.
Okay, my pointer finger.
Right.
The Quilt That Walked to Golden. That's the one I had for that finger. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let me double check. Before. There's, I don't remember anymore. There's enough people.
That's true. We have. Yeah. Okay. There's a way to check.
Okay. The Quilt That Walked to Golden.
Yes.
They are here tonight.
Oh, good.
Jury Godmother.
Jury Godmother, babe, I didn't even see you come in. Oh, babe, you won. I'm so happy. Babe, you're a winner. We knew it already, but now you're going to have a package from Quilt Nerd headquarters in your mailbox very soon. Congratulations. That's so great. You deserve this win. Everybody, it's random. It's random. Everybody who watches the show, like, you're the best. And sometimes you win stuff. And tonight, Druid Godmother, you won a book. It's a really good book. So I will be sending that to you when I get back to Chicago. Make sure you email quiltnerdshow@gmail.com and give us your address, your mailing address, because without it, you can't get your book. And then I know where you live, so that's awesome. Okay, yay, okay, great. And now, okay, that's your champagne cork. Okay, now the next book. Who's gonna win?
Okay.
Yay! Oh, Julie.
Okay.
Babe loves the book. Okay.
Okay, this person has not won before.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah. Okay.
I think I saw this name. I think this is one of our fabulous Lurker Lounge folks.
Oh, good. I love it when Lurker Lounge people win. I do.
Yeah. So, Beverly's Butter, you're a winner.
Beverly's Butter. Congratulations. You, my dear darling, you won a book that is not so easy to get, from what Susanna said, because it's quilts from the Rocky Mountain Collection. I forget exactly what it is, but it's not. I don't think we have an Abe Books link for it. So what does that tell you? You know what, Beverly's Butter, I've seen you around. I think you're great. When you contribute to the chat, it's great. But if you lurk, I love that. I respect that. I think that's totally cool. I think it's like a very cool thing to be like low key in a chat. If everybody was low key, it would not be so great. It would be very difficult for all of us. But congratulations. I think that you totally deserve to win. Everybody deserves to win, and you won tonight, and that's great. We do a lot of giveaways around here. I don't know if people have noticed, but like Yvonne is giving away things, Susanna giving away things, and that's a good time. Okay, so here is what we are doing next. Okay. This is the behind the scenes stuff, you guys. I'm going to put away Mom's bookshelf for just a second and show you what's been going on. Now, this is the space where I'm in right now. This is where I'm at. And Beverly's Better. Hi, you're in here. Oh, I'm so glad. Congratulations. It's fun to win. This is the space that I'm in. This is above the Iowa Quilt Museum. That's my mom. She did not know I was taking her picture. Loose blocks, and finish the quilts, and hire long armors, and hire hand quilters, and hire people to finish the quilts whose story got lost along the way. And then we sell them so we can employ more people to make more quilts that were really lost. I mean, you can find a quilt that's a completed vintage quilt, and it's rare that you know who made it. But with tops and blocks, like, forget it. Like, unless you know the person who has, who made the top or had the blocks, in case maybe it's a relative of yours, or maybe you know the person who created those tops and blocks, but most of the time you don't. If you buy them online, or if you buy them from perhaps a trusted quilt dealer like Jill Alexander, the provenance is usually, it's definitely the exception, not the rule, that you will know who made this stuff. So as we've put these quilts together, the way I've written about it is that it's a collaboration across space and time. To take a quilt top that was abandoned, lost, who knows where it came from, who knows who made it or their story, to finish it is pretty incredible. The satisfaction that Mom and I are getting from finishing the work that some quilter started a long time ago it's remarkable. Steph, you finished a top for the Foundry, one of the first quilts that sold, and you can go to quiltfolk.com/foundry and look. The quilt that you finished sold right away, and how did it feel to finish that? What's your experience?
Well,
I should say.
When I received the quilt top, it was, I was like, oh, this is gorgeous. And, there was a few little repairs that had to be made, but as I worked on it, it sounds corny, but I felt this kinship with this unknown person. And yeah. I felt like, I was doing something that they never had the chance to do, and helping them finish. And I have to be honest, the other part of it is the person who purchased it actually posted on Facebook, and I haven't said anything to him because I don't know if that's like kosher or not. But anyway, I liked his post.
You totally could. Yeah.
But, just hearing what he said, of like, so excited to get this quilt. And, I was just like, oh, yeah. There are people out there that really appreciate this, this very unique thing. Because it's not necessarily making quilts. It's not selling quilts. Right. It's sort of this mashup of things. And it's so cool.
It is cool.
It's just so fun.
Yeah, it is cool, and it's fun, and, working with you and Robin, and talked to Yvonne today, and Kay and Dee Dee found a top. I need to send you money for that. Kay and Dee Dee, they found a top, and Jill Alexander is sold us both, the Quilt Folk, both of the tops you're seeing there come from Jill Alexander. God help me, I'm leaving somebody out who I've been working with on this. Well, anyway, I've been talking to all of you at Quilt Nerd about it. But both of these tops you're seeing were Jill tops. And so, anyway, and we're by far not the first, people to do this. There's books out there about finishing tops and blocks and so forth. So this is not a new idea. We did not come up with it. You should absolutely do it also. But this idea that Mom and I will teach a class about it, and I tell you all this not because I'm trying to promote the thing. It's just, this is what I've been doing for like a week and a half, and in this space, working here at top, that I love. I think it's so cool. It's so weird. It's a very strange, and you're going to see a full-on flat shot of it because I was able to get one. Susanna Makes. Hey, Susanna Makes. Susanna Makes says, yay for finishing others' work. I have a pile of blocks I'm itching to get working on. It's so much fun. Yakamo says, I finished one I got from a estate sale. Aha, just the pieces cut. It felt cool trying to figure out what pattern it was, and I found a book with the page marked and finished the top. Yes! Oh my god, I love it so much. Oh, it's so cool. Oh, I love it so much. Yeah, it's super, super cool. Oh yeah, and then Padma says, oh yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I'm inspiring you. I hope I'm inspiring. Niflinster, I'm so glad you're here. It will. It looked good online. Okay, so you bought a red and white pineapple top from Etsy today. I'm excited to see it and then figure out the process. So yeah, so Mom and I are teaching a class, and that's why I'm here. We're developing this whole thing, the curriculum, figuring out, because we're going to teach a class for quilt folk called Finishing School. Finishing School. It's great, right? Get it? Oh, actually, yeah, Finishing School. And so we're going to teach about all the things. And the last episode, is how to finish the quilt. And you can tie a quilt, you can utility stitch a quilt or big stitch quilting. You can hand quilt a quilt. You can machine quilt a quilt on your domestic machine, or you can have your quilt long-armed. And so we've been talking about how all of this is going to work, right? But this particular top, this is look, by the way, the yoga studio and the bar class, that they meet up here. Yeah. Until just for a few more days, and then Quilt Folk actually is taking over this space. I can tell you more about that later. But yeah, this is all the yoga stuff. It's awesome. And so Mom and I are going to we're going to demonstrate how to thread baste a quilt top, and to prepare it for utility quilting. And Steph, I actually want to ask you a few questions about utility quilting, because that's what you did for Jacob, and I'm gonna do it on this quilt. And we're giving all of the quilts in the Foundry people names. It's nice. It literally humanizes these quilts, but also it helps us keep track of what we're working on. It's like, the weird one with the mulberry color and the spinning things. It's like, no, this is Ruth. And so we're basting this. And so here, let me see. Hang on. Oh yeah, okay. So the color is not amazing, okay? The color is not amazing, but actually, let me open something up here. The color is not perfect on this because I haven't color corrected it yet, but let me open up. Yeah, and what you're seeing on the outside is it's a PNG file, which means that there's no background. It's like when you open this in preview or in some program, it's not going to show this white border. Okay, it's just, I don't know if that makes sense. A PNG file, it has a transparent background. Okay, so you're not seeing that here in this particular image, but this is so cool to see, right? Because this quilt that you just saw here, well, it's the one that's on the hoop, right? The frame, I should say, basted there. That quilt is the one on the table. And then to be able to see it full on is pretty great. And isn't this an interesting quilt? I think it's very, it's unusual. I don't totally, where's the block? And so this is the basted, so it's unquilted, right? This is the top that's basted. I gotta zoom out again. And this is from Jill Alexander, right? We purchased this from Jill. And what you're seeing around the edges too, by the way, you need to know that the gray, so I chose a gray suiting fabric. It's a woven. You can't tell. It's really neat. It's a really cool, soft gray woven fabric. Mom taught me that when you're basting a quilt in this particular way, to just curl the edges up over the top to secure the edges. It's not going to be that big of a border. It's going to be a regular binding. I'm going to turn the back over, and the backing fabric, that gray, is going to be the binding. But it's not going to be that thick by any means. But she said when you're basting it and you're working on it, you want to protect the edges. And so just curl the backing over the top and stitch it down. Just a running stitch along the side. And so that was interesting. So that's what you're seeing there. The gray, that gray border, it does not exist on the quilt, and it won't. It'll be a thin gray binding. But that's protecting the quilt while I utility quilt it. You can see the stitches. Can you see those running stitches? That's just tacking it down while I'm doing the quilting. It's a fascinating pattern, Quack Quack Cat. So, I mean, you know what? It's such an optical illusion, because when I look at it here on my monitor, I see the it's like MC Escher or something. I see the pink, like the pink and gray blobs like rise to the surface, and the mulberry is in the background. But then when I look on this other screen that I have, it's 1000% like the spinning wine colored stars that emerge. I mean, it's like they're tumbling blocks, right? But they're elongated, right, Steph?
Yeah, I've been looking at this one, trying to sort of wrap my head around it, and I think a lot of it is their color choices.
Yeah.
And also some of those 4-pronged stars are not spinning the same direction.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So,
yeah. They're kind of
yeah,
ninja
it
throwing
makes-
stars, right?
Yeah, and so it makes those lighter colored centerpieces look different. They look strange, but it is very interesting because it's a puzzle. Like, how did, I mean, I guess you could kind of see the square, you could see the block, so you could figure.
I mean, but sort of though, because and then don't we love these bright red corners? It's like, oh, she just like, or he completely like went for it, with the red on the corner. And maybe they ran out of fabric. We don't know, but it was very deliberate, to put those bright red corner pieces. Hey, Faux Vintage. And so MC Escher was my dad's favorite artist, says Mad Quilter. I mean, MC Escher, there's so much quilty stuff in what he did, I think. So anyway, so it's a very interesting thing. So what I did to get that flat shot, I'm going to show you in just a minute. But before I do, here's another quilt. We're calling this Vera. This one, also a Jill top. This is an interesting quilt because my mom thinks, and I agree with her. Hang on, let me show you. Sometimes I have to do this, sometimes I do. This particular quilt, this is 1910, 1900 or something like that. Hang on. But we are pretty sure that the border, where's my tool? Okay. We think the border was added at a later time because the fabric itself is newer. We just think, and Jill, I don't know if you have an opinion about that, but there's something about it. It just feels newer. It feels like somebody had this, which is interesting because it makes it a collaboration with even more people, very, very interesting, sort of even more of a collaboration, right? But here's something too, and I said it wasn't really I said it was a how-to program tonight, but here's even a tip. My mom told me, and we'll say this on the program, that what it looks like to her is that, oh my God, is that the person just cut long pieces of border fabric, okay? Whoever added the border cut really long pieces of this burgundy and then just like sewed it down to one side, then the other side, then the other, then the other. And Mom said, what happens when you get this ripple? Because that makes perfect sense to me. It's like, I need a border. Cool. I'm going to cut the size border fabric that I need and sew it down. She's like, but Liz Porter, she said, Liz and I always would say, no, cut your border fabric exactly and pin it and sew it on. Don't just wing it, she said, because it's got drag. You've got this drag that happens with your quilt top. And if you just sew the long, long, long piece of your border fabric and then clip it off, you end up with something like that, which is a problem. And so what we're going to do with this quilt top, we're taking the border off and trimming it and sewing it back on. Because the top itself, this original top is in great shape. It's great shape. The sewing is consistent. What's so interesting too, you all, I'm so excited about this workshop. It's so interesting. So many of these tops, and Jill, I don't know if you noticed this or other people who buy these tops or have these tops. Hey, Sohani. Oh yeah, that's good to know. Oh yeah, no, Sohani. Remind me of that. We should talk about that. But what's so interesting is that some of these quilt tops, a lot of them, you have hand piecing and machine piecing in the same top. Many of them. You've seen this too, Cake? You've seen it? And it's like maybe there was one sewing machine in the house and you had to like trade off. I mean, I don't know. But in the same quilt top, we don't know. We don't know.
I have a quilt top I got recently that is, each of the blocks is hand pieced.
Really?
But then the blocks themselves are put together with a machine.
Oh.
And I think it's because, and this is just my theory because it's what I would do, is you could get such better, I guess, perfection. Like your points are going to match when you hand sew because you have that ability to kind of, ease it and all that. And then it's quick and fast then to, once the blocks are done, to just stitch them together.
Yeah.
And, and yeah, you could have multiple people hand piecing, whereas there's only one sewing machine in the household to stitch it all together. So
yeah, and I mean, handwork you could take with you. If you were traveling, you could just do some on your train ride or wagon ride or whatever it is. So this flat shot of this quilt, and by the way, I saw Rock Dog. I have a quilt from the 90s that is just in a so here, this is what I did. And I'm just going to show you. It doesn't have to be like a whole thing. It doesn't have to be some deep, long, oh yeah, this is a great top. Some hours long demo. Okay, here's the deal. Let me show you. So an acorn is just like, the nut or the seed or whatever it is. It is a free program. I pay for the license, which is like a year long. Forget how much it is, but you can use and download Acorn on your computer. I think it's for Mac and PC. I'm not totally sure, probably. But this is the program that I use to show images on the show now. I used to use Preview, but Acorn's way better. Anyway, it doesn't matter for that application. But what you can do here, and it's very intuitive, to get this shot. So this is the picture that I took of this quilt top, okay? We were looking at it, okay? We looked at the borders, we talked about it, and then I showed you this, okay? Well, I got this image. I keep going to that, sorry, let me just shut that one. Okay, this is what I did. You can see, actually, the legs of the ladder right there on the bottom of the picture. So I was up on this very, very tall ladder that's right over there. I can see it over there. And those are my mother's feet. And I took this picture. Now, I had my gimbal, which holds the camera very steady and has a little bit of a stick. So I got up on this ladder and we put the quilt top down there and I reached over with my stick and I got it as straight as I could get it, as centered over the quilt as I can get it. And I clicked the button and I got this picture. Well, then I got it on my computer and I put it here in Acorn. And then I got the crop tool and I cropped it, okay? Got rid of the stuff I didn't need. And I'm showing you this stuff. Oh, it's Mac. Okay, it's just Mac. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Yeah, hey, Cake, thank you so much. And then, like I said, I've never taken a class on Acorn. I've never really done a lot with it, except this. Rotate canvas, okay. Free rotate. Well, the first thing I want to do is make it straight up and down, as straight up and down as I can get it, right? So I do that, and I hit, enter, or whatever. Now, then there is this, let me hide the Quilt Nerd logo thing up here, okay? So you can see what I'm doing, at least a little. So there is this, under the image tab, there is this little menu option that says perspective, fix, and crop. I'm going to click it. And what it says here, it says use handles. Okay, so they got this grid. It says use handles to align the grid to the edges of the perspectively challenged object. Acorn is cool. Like the people who, I think Flying Meat is like the name of the group that makes Acorn. And so I can zoom in. Oh, see, look what I do. This is all I do now. I pull, so I can I'm holding down, right clicking basically. And I put the corner of, actually, hold on. I'm going to zoom in even closer. So I put right on the corner of the quilt top, okay? I put it over there. And then I just drag this over there, okay? And then I go I just match the corner of the quilt. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. You see, I have to go over here, and then when you look at it, sort of out here, you can see I've just placed the grid over the quilt top. Okay, that's what I've done. That's what I've done. And now I'm gonna click OK. Are you ready? I mean, that's it. That's what I did. And now it's straight. And it's Keystone, exactly, Keystone fixing. Now, yep, Adobe Scan. And Fons, yeah, Fons can probably do this stuff. Maybe I'm not saying anything that's like that groundbreaking. And I noticed that when I take a picture with my iPhone, and I had a Samsung, I had an Android for a lot of years, and I kind of miss it in some ways. But iPhone, when I take a picture and I put it into my photos, you know, on my desktop, there is a perspective fix similar to this now, which is exciting. Didn't used to have it. But if you know, but this is pretty cool, right? So let me just do another one real quick. I'll just do another one, okay? This is a quilt top we're calling Irene. Good night, Irene. Well, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna crop it here, and I'm gonna hit enter, and then I'm gonna do image, and I'm gonna perspective fix and crop. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pull this over here, and I'm gonna pull this down there. I mean, you just align this thing to, and then if you wanna cut out, you know, you wanna crop out the floor and stuff, that's a different thing. I won't talk about it now, but there's a way to do that. It's not too hard. And so now I'm gonna hit enter and watch the quilt pop into view. Yeah. So having flat shots is really great. Here's our flat shot of Irene, okay? And here is, oh yeah, sorry, that was another picture of Ruth. Yeah. There's that, and there's this. Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. I used this today, and getting a flat shot of a quilt is, I mean, for Quilt Folk patterns and for the Foundry and stuff, you know, we have a professional photographer who has a jib camera, you know, high up on the ceiling and takes a picture with her computer, and it's a whole thing. And for the show, you know, we're trying to watch costs and keep costs down so the class doesn't have to be, you know, insanely expensive and so forth. And so I figured this out today, and we started cropping these pictures and using them. So I thought I would share that with you because I think it's pretty useful. Steph, do you use anything else? I mean, what do you do if you want a flat shot?
Yeah, I mean, I forced my husband to take the pictures.
Great. Yes. Yes.
But I will say, you know, if you are slightly adept at, you know, any of the Adobe programs, I mean, there is a fix like this. It's more complicated though. So.
Yeah. It's easy enough. It really is easy enough. Okay, so then let me show. Okay, yeah. So I told you that because Steph is, you know, so I'm glad. I saw some people saying thank you so much, like that's cool, like, you know, that was a helpful tip, and I'm really glad. And I'm not a computer savvy person by any means, but it's just so easy. It's so easy, and I mean, if I had known that when I was trying to, like, I don't know, I submitted a quilt like twice in my life. Okay.
Yeah, I think also, Mary, just to chime in,
please.
That's probably really helpful for people because, I mean, submitting anything nowadays, they have some really strict guidelines, and it's like, you know, rightfully so, because you can't judge or jury a quilt when you can't really see, you know, so it's like no shadows. Don't do the plate, you know, the beautiful styling shot, because we want to see the quilt, like all four corners squared off, no keystone, like all that. You know, so I think this is very helpful. Wish I had an iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, wish I had a Mac, not an iPhone. But yeah.
I didn't for a long time, and I mean, it's annoying. The reason I switched to an Android years ago is like the cult of Apple, or just like the thing where like people line up for the phone. I'm just like, you know what? No. And actually, iTunes broke me. I hate iTunes so much. It's like I have songs from like 2001. Like I don't want that J-Lo song in my life, but I can't get rid of it. And then the song that I want, I can't find. Anyway, okay. So a couple quilts. I'm going to leave you with a couple quilts tonight, and you know, Steph's been ill, and I've got packing to do. So I'm just going to share a few more things with you tonight. Okay. So actually. No. I got to do this other thing. To close the show. Okay, so this is another quilt that I loved. It's actually from the Quilt Digest. I thought it was great. It's really great. It's by Adelheid Gubsek. Okay, and in 1985. But the quilt is fine. Her picture in Quilt Digest. This is her picture. She's smoking a cigarette. I love it so much. It's so punk rock. I'm like, wait a minute. Her eyeliner, like this is a mood. It's a mood. I love it so much. And she's smoking. I'm like, really? Anyway, I just thought it was great. Okay, but that's not what I want to show you because we're talking about the Foundry, and I have to show you what I've been working on. There's 2 other quilts. They're fine. They're great, but that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. I'm shutting it down. I'm shutting that down. Okay, no, I don't want to save things. So there's a quilt top that I got. And I'm going to show you what it looked like. Now, I didn't get a full flat shot of this before. I didn't figure that whole thing out. I didn't figure out I could get on a ladder. I didn't figure out I could do that. So the pictures that I have of it, I took creatively. Okay, and I didn't have them open because I didn't know if we were going to get to this. So this is a quilt top I'm calling Tig. Okay, Tig. It feels like Tig. Here are our yoga mats. Okay, we got all our yoga mats over here. This quilt, and I can tell you, this quilt top, okay, this quilt top has some problems. Okay, I
can palpably feel Ivana cringing from that because isn't that the condition that long armors will like send you packing if you send a quilt like that?
Listen, and God bless him for even. Oh my God, it's really intense, and actually I can get pretty quickly. Hang on, don't do me. I can grab the picture that it's right on eBay. Yeah. It's very, very, very intense. Like the construction of this thing, it just, here, okay, this is good. There is polyester in the top. I got down on my stomach and took a picture of the top so I could show you that it was basically like a desert dune. Hang on, it was like oh, hold on, wait, is this? Yeah. It was like a desert landscape, You can see there's suiting fabric. There is fabric in this quilt that is like children's footy pajama fabric. There's flannel pajama fabric in this quilt top, okay? And here is, by the way, here is the picture of the quilt from my office. Actually, it's from my office. Okay, yeah. So that's it draped over the whiteboard. I loved it. It was maybe $30 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. It was hung up over a fence, in the eBay listing. And God bless it, I loved it. And I loved how jacked up it was. And I loved that I couldn't find the block. And it was on a co-working stream that we even looked at this. Topographic, yes, faux vintage. So, it's just like, what did Mother Nature say? The quilt should be called Ripple. Yeah, exactly. So, and I couldn't really find the block because we might have looked, but I thought maybe this was the block, like that in there. No, it's not. But it was so crazy pieced together. It was very, very difficult to find. Anyway, so I got it. My mom looks at this thing. There's jersey knit in this quilt top. Mom looks at it and I can tell she hates it. She's just like, it's unsavable. It's not savable. And I'm like, no.
This is not up to Fons and Porter standards.
No, it is not. And let me tell you something. Now, you guys are getting a sneak peek on all this, but my mom has had to let go. And it has been beautiful because Liz Porter and Marianne Fons and teachers like them, Georgia, everybody, they standardized practices. And a lot of people learned how to quilt from them. But you know what? I'm like, no. This is how people make quilts. And also, before there were a million books and tutorials and YouTube videos and whatever, people did the thing that they did. They did the damn thing. And this is the top, but it didn't get quilted. And I just hate that, you know? I hate that it didn't get finished and I want to finish it. Damn it. But oh Lord, what could you do? Whatever could you do? So I decided, and there was a lot of thought that went into this. Some of these quilts, these quilt tops, you got to take down to the studs. And that is what I did with Tig. And Mom has had nothing to do with this quilt top. She has had nothing to do with it. It has been 100% me. It's just been me because she just couldn't deal with it. She couldn't. And so let me show you what I had to do. This is what I did. I didn't have to do it, but this is what I decided to do. Okay, here's another detail shot of the problems in this quilt top. Okay, hang on. Let me just do this. It's gonna be easier for me. It's gonna be easier for everybody if I just do this. Okay, here we go. I mean, I believe in this quilt. I've got to do it, and this is what I did. Okay, I took the blocks apart. I had to take them apart. I had to separate them in order to put them back together because the ripples were so bad that what I needed to do was stabilize the blocks. I had to stabilize the blocks. And let me just show you, and I didn't have this. Oh yeah, I mean, oh God. I mean, like, you know what I kept saying when I was doing this? I was like, oh, sweetie, oh no, like, oh God, like to even finish it, to even get the seams to I mean, I don't know. It was really intense, like what was going on. This, here. So I take my seam ripper, and Mom and I have said, like, it's very interesting to like unsew a seam that someone else has sewn. Like it's like less painful, but also just like, but I knew that what I was doing was, I mean, this would never be a quilt. It couldn't be the way it was. I mean, it wasn't, right? It wasn't. But to be able to take them apart first, to press them properly, to really press them. There isn't a seam in this quilt top that is not twisted. There isn't one. They're all twisted. But I separated them out and I took them to the ironing surface with like love and care. And I would talk to this thing, okay? I talked to her. I did. I was like, oh, I need to fix the perspective on this. I was like, you know what? I was like, we're going to do this. We're going to do it together, okay? We're going to do it together. And maybe I can get this to look a little better. I said, I believe in you. I mean, I know this is like dumb, but like I was like, we've got this. We're gonna do it. Okay, I didn't do that too well. And I took the blocks apart and I pressed them from the back, you know, obviously, with a lot of steam. And I had to trim them down. I mean, okay, this looks pretty good. They are not even, like in terms of like the squares in the middle are not centered, but they are all, God help me Jesus, they are 11 and a half inches. All of them, right? So I pressed them from the back. I did the seams. This has been pressed. And then I did the best, and then I stabilized them. I pressed them onto the stabilizer, very, very sheer, like the lightest weight. I think it was actually suggested on this show, like what we should be using or whatnot. And I pressed it to the stabilizer, and then I trimmed them to 11 and a half. And now, look at this. This is a block that has been rescued, okay? Like that was the edge. I know. Steph's like, oh God. And I just love it so much. I love it so much. It's the fabrics and it's the fact that they finished it and it's just rough, man. And so this is the triage. You're looking at triage. So then that's when I would turn it over and I would press it from the back and then I would put on the stabilizer, okay? Yeah, and so this is, and you can see, I mean, I did my best, but like, that's how tight, like that stabilizer below, you know, under the block, like that's, some of them, to save the block, I had to do it. And so when I join these blocks, I'm gonna have to hold my breath, stick my tongue out, and I don't really get it right. Anyway, so some of them were so bad, I don't know what to do with them. So then it's like, okay, now what? What do we do with these blocks? Okay, it really shows the texture, if you will. So these blocks, what do we do? What do I do? This picture is better. Now, I thought about setting them on point. Okay, because the thing is, when I made these blocks usable, I could put them together exactly the way they were. I could do that. And that's a way to finish the quilt. But now, since the two of us, whoever made this, since we're working together, and I want to make her work look beautiful, and I also have helped out here. The goal of this person was to make a quilt. Okay, cool. And now, I'm involved because I got it, I took it apart, I made it quiltable. It was not before. I mean, you could do it, but I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, I thought about just trying to press it as best I could and tie it, but even still, like, I don't know. So I take these blocks, okay? And then I start thinking, yeah, could I set it in a particular way? Could I, when I was looking at it like this, sorry, let me just show you this one other thing here. When I was looking at it like this, I thought, I could put a setting fabric in here. And my mom has done, there was another top that was completely unquiltable. There were tucks and pleats, and there's a lot of pleats in this quilt that I actually am stitching down with a needle and thread. I'm stitching them down. I know. But it's like, I believe in it. What can I say? Like, there's other quilts that I wouldn't work this hard for, but like, I don't know. There's something about it. I just like it. And now, and especially because like my mom like doesn't like it, I'm like, well, it's on, I'm going to make it into something awesome. And so I'm like, I want to set it on point. Like that would sort of, because they become these explosions. I feel like the blocks are now these explosions, and they're wonky and they're crazy and whatever. But what I thought was like, yeah, it's so busy though. Like I would put a solid in there to like slow it down, to like slow down the eye. But then I was like, but what though? Then you have all of this solid fabric and then these blocks, and it just didn't seem right. So there's a quilt shop 2 doors down from here. And I'm like, let's go over there and let's just see what we see. And I found this fabric from Ruby Star, and I like it. And I'm going to show you, and I'll see what you think. And, again, like to make this quilt quiltable, it has to be a collaboration. To see it through to a quilt that will warm somebody, oh my God, my foot. Okay, well, all right. To see it through, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Means to make some choices. To make some choices to design, right? To design with the person. So I decided, like, maybe not on point. Maybe not on point. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's too much blue. Well, maybe it's too much fabric. And I was like, it can't be a solid. It needs to have a little something else going on. The blocks are so... And then I saw this fabric by Ruby Star, and it was like the night sky. And I was like, oh, white, not solid. And so, so we got from the quilt shop, we got that whole bolt of fabric and ran it up here to the quilt museum upstairs and laid this thing out. And I think that's the way to go. I think it needs this dark background fabric. Not a lot of it. It's not a lot. It's just sashing. But I think that is going to be able to take this quilt like into like awesome land. It because otherwise, the mishmash of it, you couldn't see the block. You couldn't see the piecing that's done, which is awesome. It's a great block. It's like King's Cross or something. But when you look at the original, oh my God, like you can't see it. You can't see it. And it's a top. If it's not quilted, if it's not finished, it's going to remain a top. And I can't believe it even still exists, So anyway, I haven't looked at the chat at all. Like, what do you think? Dee Dee likes it. Dee Dee's into it. Yeah, what do you think, Steph? And I really am open. Like, if I'm wrong about something, like the cornerstones, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think this looks great.
Okay,
good.
And
I think there's something to be said for. So I'm the kind of person that would have put together that first version. Although, in my defense, I do know how to keep some bias edges from stretching, and I know how to manage different types of substrate fabric, sewing them together.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yes.
This person, again, probably confident beginner. They were like, I'm going to tackle this really tough thing, and I'm going to use up all these cool scraps.
Yeah.
And they just didn't know what they didn't know, I guess. But I'm the kind of person that would have just sewed all those blocks together and been like, look at this riot of color. But there is something to be said for going back to sort of a more traditional layout, like with sashing and cornerstones, to really set those off. because,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, this person, even though it wasn't necessarily successful technically, I mean,
Did so much work.
this person did so much work,
And the blocks
it's
are, yeah.
really sad that it didn't get finished.
I agree. And with this collaborative idea, it's like you wanted to make a quilt. Cool. It didn't happen. Can I pitch in? Like can I like help see this quilt through? And what's really interesting, and Word and Bernard, you had a great question. They didn't give up, I know. Word and Bernard says, you know, will the original be discussed and shown with the new version as part of its story when it's offered for sale? Yeah, like the actually, oh, that's interesting. We should do that for the Foundry. But what we have, hang on one second. There's the label too on the quilt. Folk quilts is really important that they get their own label. Hang on. I just wanted to show the original. Just a minute. Yeah. So I will open this because I wanna show you the 3, 4, 3, 2. Okay. The original. And that is downloads, and it's here. Cool. Yeah. So here's the original, and it's oh, I didn't tell you. So of course I had to take off the borders, right? That red and white stripe. I'm gonna run it down the back. And the fabric is gonna be this Ruby Star. It's gonna be this. I think on the back, and I often like to do a different kind of backing, but there's so much happening with those blocks. I think it should be the blue on the back, and then these red. Oh my God, they're right over here. Hang on, just a minute. Ooh, there's right here. Oh my God, these are great. Okay, yeah. Okay, look at these. These. Oh, and Mom's like, are they in good enough shape? I mean, she has been completely like, I don't know about this. And that's, yeah, I had got to prove it to her. But look at these. These are so cool. They're so cool. And they're in pretty good shape. And of course, I'm saving them. Sorry. And I'm going to run these things. There's this one. I mean, they're long. They're the length of the top. And this one. And I'm going to leave them just as they are and run them like down the back of the quilt. And I think it's going to be neat. And it really does feel, and Mom and I have both felt this, and this is what we're going to talk about on the show. And like, you know, if it's a full top, you know, there's ones that are in great shape, they're ready to be quilted. Cool. Like you pick your backing fabric and you're binding and you do it. There's other ones that need some work, like Vera. We have to maybe take the border off and re-sew it so it's not bacon. That's like 1,000% in the show now, the bacon border. And then other ones need, that we call them the oh dears, you know, they need triage or whatnot. So what we've been learning is like, it is deeply satisfying to take a top that looks like it's a sculpture. I mean, it just, you saw it on the ground. I mean, my mom was just like, it's not, you can't do it. You can't save it. And I'm like, yeah, we can. We totally can. And to turn it into something that is like usable by somebody and kind of like awesome, you know, like different. It's like, I couldn't do it without her, you know, and now we're going to see it. Anyway. So that's, I just wanted to talk about that. and we just encourage, you know, anybody, if you find a top that's lost and, you know, if you put in the work to make it into a finished quilt and you make those design choices, it's really a collaboration. It really is. And it feels right. It feels like you're taking a quilt over the finish line that without you would just not happen. So it's been a pretty awesome experience so far. Yeah, I hope, Kitty, hey Kitty, and she said, I hope this person kept quilting after this. You know, hey Renee, I don't know. I mean, I would just cry and cry. It's, I don't know, man. But boy, stabilizer is a hell of a drug. I mean, that stuff really, really, really helped. Anyway, pew pew. Shots of color, yes. Needs more color in the blocks. It needs more color. Mother Nature says it needs more color in the blocks. What do you mean? What are you? Mother Nature, it needs more. I
think there's an abundance of gray.
And what is great?
That one layout that you have. Yeah.
Yes. And that was just me like tossing stuff around. I completely agree with you. And look at this. I mean, here they are. Look at them. Oh, they're so sweet. They're just like, I mean, this, oh Lord. There are some of them that are so, like, I don't know how to do it. I should send it to you. I mean, it's like, I'm just not sure that I can do it. But here's one that's stabilized. But yes, there's a lot of gray blocks. There are a number of blocks with gray, and I don't necessarily have to use them all. I love these ones with like the denim-y and the lemons. The lemons, they're so cool, you know? And there's a lot of them too. So anyway, it's a blast. It's like my mom, and this is the last thing I'll say, and then we can go, but my mom has not made this many quilts in years. She can't stop. She loves it. She's like, it's a whole new approach. And she starts crying. I mean, it's like, oh my God, Mom, you can't cry on the show. You can't do it. But she's like, I just think about who she was and, you know, like what her life was like. And I was like, yeah, you know, I wonder about the conversations a person had while they were making this quilt, you know. Mom's super into the 1900s and the Veras and so forth. But I like this stuff. I like to take a problem child, if you will, and really see, it's like, no, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you that this one that nobody else is going to touch, I'm going to figure it out. Anyway. So good times, man. Good times. The block pattern is interesting, Joyce. I agree. Spread out the gray, exactly Mother Nature. I'll be able to do that. I was just kind of throwing this down to see like what is possible. But 1,000%, yeah, the grays, I'm going to spread out a lot more. And then those red strips down the back. Anyway. Okay, everybody, thank you for letting me chat about that. It's super fun. Faux vintage, I love the excitement around this. Love making quilts like this from Tops and Blacks. Same, it's gonna be awesome. I hope that everybody has a good night, and thanks for joining me. And when I see you again, oh my God, I'll have less, I won't be as close to the camera, but I'll be in Chicago for the Saturday night show, and we'll do, and make sure, two things. Number one, Stephanie Cake, as long as she's feeling up to it. Jill Alexander, who sold us a number of the tops that you saw on the show tonight, is going to be at the Antiques Festival, but where is it? I don't have the name.
It's the Mid-Atlantic Antiques Festival, yeah, and it's in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Mm-hmm. And so Jill's going to sell things there at Quilt Tops, and there's some other things there, and Steph's involved with Jill's booth, and in a number of ways. And so if you are, so they're gonna take over the airwaves with Quilt Nerd and live stream from there if it makes sense, if it works, if it may, you know. So just so if you don't have notifications,
we're gonna try.
You're gonna try. So follow Quilt Nerd on Twitch. That's how you're gonna get the notifications and stuff. And it's not a subscriber only thing. But the best thing to do is subscribe to Quilt Nerd, and then you get access to the Discord and stuff, and you always get like the news first when you're part of the Discord server. It's a good time. And so, so you guys are, so far, you know, the plan's on. Jill's going to be there, but if you're feeling good, you're going to be there, yeah? Broadcasting live, you know? It's going to be cool. So tune in for that. And then also on Saturday night, I'm going to Chicago tomorrow. On Saturday during the day, I'm going to go visit that Barbara Benson lady out in the suburbs who had the Birth of Mextroth exhibit. And I'm going to hopefully get a whole bunch of really cool stuff from her. And so I'll give you a preview on Saturday night of what I got from Barbara. And if you're a tier 2 or 3 subscriber, you get to access to the Sunday Social, which is the VIP stream for tier 2 and tier 3 subscribers at 11 a.m. Central on Sunday morning. And it'll be an unboxing to end all unboxings, I think. Oh God, help me. You know, I just really want it to go okay. But anyway, on the Sunday Social, I'm going to share everything that I got, and we'll go through everything together. Yeah, so that's good. That's good. I appreciate you all very, very, very much. Crisco, hey, it's good to see you. And take care. And Steph, it's so good to have you back. Thank you so much.
I missed you guys. I think the only reason I wouldn't have been here tonight is if I had to do it from the bathroom. And
yeah.
Mary said, no bathroom.
Actually, I'd probably make an exception. But yes. It's better that, it's better that you're in your seat with your headphones, and yeah, it's good. Take care, everybody. I'll see you on Saturday night. Be good. Don't be too good. I mean, that's no fun. Okay.
Bye.